Hi, it's Anna here. Welcome back to my channel. So today I want to interrupt my inner work video series to bring a topic that I'm really passionate about and that I think needs to be called out. And it's about calling out this trend that I call perfectionism parenting. Because what I'm seeing is that in an attempt to do better than our parents did, we seem to have gone from authoritarian parenting to perfectionism parenting. And if you want to learn more about the different parenting styles, I recommend you watch this video that I did. So one of the reasons why I took a 1-year break from this channel is actually because I was starting to see this trend and it was starting to irk me. And then I read the book called Unconditional Parenting and it really pissed me off. And I will be doing a summary of that book for you soon. But out of all the books that I've brought on this channel, they all actually are very balanced, very nuanced, very compassionate towards parents until I read that book. But yeah, I do feel that things have gone too far, and that's what happens with trends. Everyone jumps on the bandwagon without really starting to pause and realize that they are taking things too far and that what they are teaching might actually be confusing, but also detrimental to parents and their children. So I've decided to divide this video into 3 parts. First, we will discuss the importance to bring back nuance and balance. Then we will discuss the importance of imperfect parenting. And finally, we will discuss the elephant in the room that everyone seems to have forgotten about. So let's start with discussing the need to bring back balance and nuance. So as you probably know, I'm a firm believer that parenting is a learning experience. We have never parented before, so it's natural and very important that we spend time learning and gathering knowledge so we can understand what we are doing and understand our children more, understand what is age appropriate for our behavior for our children, so that we parent from a place of love and compassion rather than control. And I'm also a firm believer in the importance of healing ourselves as parents, so that we don't pass down the unhelpful programming or wounds that we have accumulated that is currently clouding our judgment with our parenting. I'm 100% for this. This is the reason why I started this YouTube channel, so I could bring you this free information to help you become a better parent. But, and that's a big but, there is a huge difference between learning and trying to understand our children so we become more confident in our parenting as a result, versus becoming afraid to not do it right and constantly second-guessing ourselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? In my opinion, the goal of parenting is to enjoy our children. So if we are constantly up in our head, thinking about the perfect script, thinking about validating all emotions, thinking that connection is the be-all and end-all, emulating this Mary Poppins sing-songy voice and bypassing our own feelings in the process, how can we possibly enjoy our children? I'm seriously asking. It's exhausting to parent this way. And of course, at the beginning, using scripts might be helpful, when you have no idea what you're doing and you're managing 20 tantrums a day with multiple children. Of course it's helpful. I've been there, it was helpful for me. But what I'm saying is that we shouldn't get stuck there. We should be very mindful not to come to a place where we only look outside of ourselves to parenting experts, there's no such thing, but anyway, for answers and lose trust in ourselves and our children. Everything changed for me when I really started fostering this inner guidance system that I've talked about recently in this video. Because parenting from a place of confidence is the goal. This is the goal of learning all this stuff. And when you reach that stage, you will no longer have to think about the right script because you will feel into each situation about what feels right to you, what feels right to the situation, what feels right for your child. There is so much nuance and so many gray areas and so much context that's being lost in what's being shared on social media. And nobody can tell you what to do. You need to come to a place where you really stay authentic, because that's what our kids want. They want an authentic and real parent, not a robot. Our connection to our kids isn't as fragile as what's being portrayed. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about the science of secure attachment and possibly neuroscience as well. So I will be bringing more videos debunking those and bringing you the actual science behind it with the studies and the research. So I actually want to provide some concrete examples of some stuff that I've seen on social media because I think it will really help you to understand what I'm talking about. So a big caveat though is that I will be showing you an actual video of someone. I want to preface that I do have a lot of respect for her. This is Dr. Becky at home. She's a psychologist. I do have an immense respect for her, and I do think that she brings a lot of good stuff, a lot of good information. She's helped so many people. She's got 1.3 million followers on Instagram. But I do also think that it's important to call out this trend and provide some constructive feedback. I think it's important that we all continue to discuss these things and call things out when we see them. Because judging by all the comments that I'm getting on my Instagram posts, as well as all the private messages, I know a lot of you are confused. So this is to help you get some clarity. So let's look at two examples. The first one is where Dr. Becky gives us an example of our child telling us, I hate you. And the second is about not blaming our children for our own feelings.
What do we do when our kid screams, I hate you, at us? Well, let's talk about what we do out of fear, and then let's talk about what we can do to actually be effective. Out of fear, we punish. Go to your room, no TV for a week, because we fear that if we don't punish, we reinforce bad behavior. Not true. To be effective, we have to actually teach our kids the coping skills they didn't have in the first place, which is why their feelings came out as that behavior. So to be effective, do these two things. In the moment, share words like this. Whoa, you must be really upset about something to say that to me. I know I need a couple moments to calm my body. Then let's come back together and figure out what's really going on. Outside the moment, share words like this. Hey, you know what I'm thinking about? There's going to be times when you're really upset with me. When you're really upset with me about something, I wonder what words you can use to express what's going on and still maintain respect. There's a big difference between naming the feeling you're having to your child versus blaming your child for causing that feeling in you. Here's a couple examples. Of course, it's okay to say, hey, I need a moment to step outside and take a deep breath. I'll come right back to your room after. Versus, I can't stay in here when you're screaming like that. You're making me go crazy, and walking out. There's a big difference between saying, you're noticing I'm frustrated. Yes, you're right to notice that. Today has been a tricky day here. I'm frustrated. That's my feeling. I'm going to manage it. You're safe, and I love you. Versus, you turned me into a witch. Of course I'm frustrated. We want to confirm the perceptions of our kids. We want to tell them, yes, we're having certain feelings. What we don't want to do is blame them for causing those feelings. That's a big difference.
So what's wrong with these examples? The first thing that, in my opinion, I see is wrong is that it's portraying a one-size-fits-all approach, as if it's the only solution to this scenario. And in the first instance, she actually says it's the effective strategy. So it's her words. Personally, there's no way I'd be able to talk to my kids like this. I mean, if it works for Dr. Becky, and I'm sure it works for a lot of other people, because maybe that's how they actually talk, but there is no way I'd be able to talk to my kids like that without them feeling really confused. That's not the way I speak to my kids in an authentic way. But that aside, I think the issue that I see that there is so much nuance that's being missed because the scenario really never goes that way, does it? It's an oversimplification of what actually happens in everyone's house. And I feel like a lot of our response really depends on the detail. The detail is so important, right? I mean, is the kid saying, I hate you whilst also kicking and screaming? Is the kid saying that after you set a firm boundary? Is he saying that after a whole week of disrespectful behavior? There is so much context that's not being given. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is that the danger in showing an example like that and saying that it's the most effective strategy is that some people are going to be very confused, especially if they are disconnected to their own inner guidance system. And they will think that there's something wrong with them when they're not doing it that way. And that's not the case, because there are a million ways to parent and to be a good parent. So it's important that for each situation where your child says, I hate you, you really feel into it and feel what feels right to you. And what you think is the best approach for your child at that time. And with the example of not blaming our kids, it's also missing a lot of context, because what I'd like to know is, was the child jumping repeatedly on the couch after you've told them 10 times not to do it? The approach is very dependent on the detail, on the context of the situation. The second problem that I see with these examples is that it's bypassing our own emotion as parents. When we are saying things like, this is my feeling, or I need a couple of moments to calm my body, we are stifling our emotions. And I'm not saying that we need to start raging, but there is a middle ground. Why not be more authentic and say something like, your behavior is really frustrating me right now? Because the thing is, our kids need to understand that their behavior can cause people to react. It's actually completely natural. This trend of thinking that we are solely responsible for all our emotions, it's very rife in New Age spirituality, and in my opinion, it's complete garbage. It's bypassing, and it's also an oversimplification of human interactions. It's not rooted in reality at all. And the last thing I want to say also is that, in my opinion, it also comes across as over-controlling. Not controlling in the sense that we are controlling our kids, but controlling in the sense that we are controlling the situation. We are controlling the situation so it goes into this perfect way that we want it to. Because that's exactly what this person's mindset is as she's going through this scenario. She's in her head thinking about how she can control the outcome, what she can say and do to make sure that she follows the outcome that she clearly has in her head. And when we parent this way, in this controlling way, in trying to be this perfect parent, I really believe that we lose our humanity in the process. A big part of parenting is feeling into things and, being imperfect and messy and being authentic. And the thing is, Dr. Becky actually posted a video about mom rage that same week when she posted those two examples. And of course, I'm teaching nuance and context here. So there might be a million reasons why she felt that way. That's completely fine. And, we've all been there. That's okay. But if you are constantly bypassing your emotions in this way, like in the way that I've seen in those two examples, those emotions don't magically disappear. They have to come out. So what I'm also seeing is that if you are trying to, emulate what Dr. Becky is showing in these examples constantly, and you are seeing that you are shooting yourself in the foot because you are also constantly ragey, there might be a problem here where it's because you are not being authentic in your parenting, not expressing your emotions enough, and there's a healthy way of expressing our emotions. Let's not twist everything. There's a balance. There's a middle path here. Those emotions bubble, and they're gonna come out and explode. They will come out. That's this mom rage we're talking about. So a much healthier way is when your kids frustrate you, tell them. If your kid is jumping on the couch 10 times, I will tell them, I'm so angry right now, you're not listening. I will raise my voice. I will be very firm. You don't need to become a crazy person. That's unhealthy. But you also don't need to be like, I can see that you need to expend some energy, but I don't want you to jump on the couch. I would not talk like that. That's not right. That's not being firm. That's not being a leader. You need to parent from confidence. I hope I'm being clear, but obviously if you have any questions, please leave them to me in the comments. I'd love to know. And if you disagree with what I'm saying as well, please let me know. I'm open to feedback. Let's start the dialogue here. The whole point of this video that I'm making is not to tell you what to do. I'm only expressing what I would do as me, Anna, with my own kids. The goal of this video is to remind you that you are all unique individuals with unique children, unique circumstances, unique situations. So the most effective strategy with parenting from confidence is to foster and develop a strong inner guidance system where you no longer rely on other people to tell you what to do. You will know yourself so well, and you will know your children so well that you will know what to do, what feels right to you, what feels authentic. And it doesn't mean that you will always get it right, but that's okay, because I can assure you that that's what our kids want. They want an authentic parent. They don't want a robot. And in actual fact, I know some people who are very confused and they try these strategies and they say, my kid is telling me to be quiet and shut up. Yeah, listen to your kid. He's giving you feedback. He doesn't want you to talk like that to him. You know, parenting is messy. There's no way around it. And I don't care what someone else is saying out there to sell you a course, telling you that you're going to stop yelling forever. That's shady marketing, okay? You will never come to a place where parenting is easy breezy. You will come to a place where you are more confident, you feel like you know what you're doing, you feel more calm and at peace, but it will still be messy from time to time. There's no way around that. So now I want to talk about why conflict and messiness is important in parenting and why we shouldn't aim to completely remove it. The first point that I want to make is that it teaches invaluable skills for our kids and ourselves. And that's how we grow. It's through conflict and messiness that we grow. Skills like communication skills, empathy skills, becoming better listeners, how to navigate conflict, repair, which is a huge one, because it's not the conflict that matters, it's our ability to repair. And it's in those messy moments that those skills are really developed, much more than when everything is going well. The second point I want to make is that it deepens our connection and trust. So somehow a lot of people have become afraid of conflict. I know a friend who told me once that she was so proud that her and her partner never argued. And of course, you don't want to argue by yelling at each other, but I think it's actually healthy to have some conflict with your partner, because if you never do that, are you actually even discussing anything that's important? Often we avoid conflict and it means we are stifling our emotions, we are ignoring red flags and our needs. And when we can truly openly speak what's on our heart, even if it looks really messy, that's when we come back full circle and really deepen our connection with people. And it also fosters more trust because it allows everyone to be vulnerable and raw. That's what you want to foster in your family, right? You want your kids and yourself to be able to be yourself. You know, that's the only place you can really be yourself, in your own house, in your own home. You want to be real. The third point is that it humanizes us for our kids. What I've noticed with my kids is that they love the fact that I'm not on a pedestal getting everything right. I know that I used to think that my parents had all the answers. So I have no issues expressing to my kids that I'm still learning and figuring things out. And that's so liberating for our kids. They love the fact that we are humans and therefore flawed just like them. I'm encouraging you to have these discussions with your kids. You know, next time you get frustrated at them and you know that it's you because you're tired and they didn't deserve that, instead of berating yourself, have a chat to them and tell them, look, you know, I'm like you guys. I get tired and I get frustrated. And they love that. When you are so real with them, they love it because it makes them feel normal. It doesn't make them feel that they always need to get it right. Another point is that it makes our kids more resilient. Because let's not kid ourselves, this place we live in can be rough. And our kids need to be prepared for the reality that relationships are difficult and take work. And that not everything will go their way, that they will do things that will upset other people, and that their emotions won't always be validated. And I've seen people arguing that we need to raise a new generation of people who do things differently, and that's true, right? But why can't it be both? Both preparing them for the reality of the world and also fostering a deep love for humanity and social change. It can be both. And the last point, very simply, is that it's inevitable. It's actually part of being human. So there is no way to prevent it, so you might as well just accept it. So to end this video, I want to discuss the elephant in the room that we all seem to have forgotten about. So in our attempt to really focus on healing ourselves and becoming better parents so we don't repeat the same mistakes that our parents did, which is all great, right? We seem to have developed a misunderstanding of what's within our control and what's outside of our control. We can absolutely heal our triggers. Triggers are our nervous system remembrance of something that happened in the past that's being brought up in the present. This can be healed 100%, and then you can no longer be triggered by certain things. But we won't be able to find parenting no longer challenging until we see true societal change, systemic societal change. And in a nutshell, we need to come back to community living. That's not talked about enough. You know, this is this village that we all have lost and that we actually need. We can't come to a place where we can do everything ourselves. It's completely unrealistic. And that's a huge part of why we find parenting challenging, because it's all on us. We are parenting in such silo, and you know, a lot of us, me included, we don't have any family around to help. It's extremely challenging. We were never meant to do it alone. Have you ever gone away with other families, you know, on holidays or spending time with your own family? It's so much easier to parent with other adults around and other children around, because usually your kids are out playing all day outside, getting all their needs met that way. But also you can actually relax for 5 minutes because there's someone else in the kitchen to give your 3-year-old this glass of water that he needs or this snack that he needs. This is how we're supposed to live, with help around us. And that's what not talked about enough. The elephant in the room is that we need support. So absolutely we can talk about healing ourselves and strategies to help, you know, us parent better. But what about also discussing, instead of going too far the perfectionist route of going deeper and deeper into all the scripts and tips and tricks and everything to control our family, what about using our platform to discuss the fact that we need to see change? We need so much change here, and everyone needs support. What I'm seeing and what I'm feeling is that it can really feel like gaslighting. Can you imagine telling a single mom who's doing everything on her own, parenting her children full-time, she's got 3 kids, she's working full-time to barely make ends meet, she's constantly stressed, telling her that she's got the power and, you know, she needs to do all these things, all these extra things of, you know, validating all her children's feelings and all of that to make it easier. It's so insulting, and I think that's why it's gone too far. I feel like the more we focus on this perfectionism parenting trend, the less we are talking about the real issue. Because it's like a band-aid approach where we take way too much responsibility for ourselves, which puts a lot of pressure on ourselves, and not enough being realistic about the fact that we all need to support each other. So that's what I had to say today. We need to remember this quote: there is no way to be a perfect parent, but a million ways to be a good one. So I hope this video can alleviate some of the pressure you are unnecessarily putting on yourself. And I hope that it might help you understand why you are feeling confused with all the stuff that you are reading and absorbing, and why you aren't feeling good about it all. In a nutshell, things aren't just that simple. Things aren't black and white. Parenting is all shades of gray. It's messy, and it's the beauty of it. We need to find that middle line. Absolutely, we need to better ourselves and heal our triggers, but there's no way to become the perfect parent, and it shouldn't be our goal. But I'm curious. I'd love to know what you think about all this. If you are feeling it, please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear your perspective. Bye for now.